Arrows.
Oh. Oh, that's right. You were doing the can with the spiders.
Oh, look, an arrow. Aren't these game designers wonderful?
So have we tried to walk out of the front door yet?
No, not yet, but I think we'll be doing it in this part. Watch this space. But first, we need to read a book. A Brightness from Afar by Lord Boleskine.
Wow, this guy actually reads the publication details at the front of the book. Wow, what a nerd.
It's kind of like listening to an audiobook where they start off by blandly stating the title and who's recording it and who the publisher is, and and then they pause for like a full 3 seconds and then start reading the book.
Upon the promise of a few coins, a child is undertaken to reveal to one a most
this is about, if I'm trying to remember, like one of the earlier people who was involved with the mansion.
Wooden hut situated in the forest hereabouts. One will nonetheless go. It is always well to submit.
Right. What was this about? I'm not remembering how this went.
One admits to being somewhat flabbergasted.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
I need to steal that line. One admits to being somewhat flabbergasted.
I'm not as flabbergasted as taking the time to stop and read a fucking novel as poisonous spiders are in the next room.
This is someone's journal, I think, but
I mean, how do you become somewhat flabbergasted?
Only slightly.
It would be pointless to offer.
It's like you can't be slightly surprised. You're either surprised or you're not.
In utter clarity, apart from the interminable length of such a
right.
one might
I forget who this was or what the context was, and I'm just fascinated reading it. The documents are really, really interesting, but you know,
that's why you're making every part have a sit down. Begin with us sitting down for story time.
I recorded this months and months ago, so I imagine if we did the commentary right after that, I'd have a pretty fresh memory for which documents meant what, and I could give you a Cliff Notes version and discuss that. But no, I apparently this is just about some guy stargazing in a really specific place. Okay.
Looking up at a huge comet, suddenly Makoto Shinkai's music plays.
Oh wow, it's time for the Comet Festival already? Jeez. Oh, I think they're talking about one of the paintings being evil.
One lost count of the craters, so
right.
sharply was their definition.
The thing about these documents is that some of them have clues about what you're supposed to do to progress, but since they're written as actual like journal entries and books and novels and stuff and myths that you can find around, the clue itself is not always obvious. So you might have to think about what it was you just read, and remember it for when you find whatever challenge is associated with it.
Not to mention, you're not sure if what passage or are some just flavor text for the sake of being flavor text, or are they all clues in some?
A lot of them are flavor text for the sake of being flavor text. There's backstory to the mansion and all of that.
And
stuff.
they're all just about as subtle as that one there, or is it like one where the guy tells you about a magnificent story about underground trolls, and then the final paragraph is the combination is 2, 3, 6, 4.
No, there's nothing quite that straightforward in this game. This game is like you saw the part count. It's 5 hours. It's 2.5 hours long if you know what you're doing. That's shorter than even Resident Evil when you know what you're doing. So you know, games at that time were meant to be played in bursts where you didn't necessarily know what you're doing.
It looks like this game's length stems from what the fuck am I doing?
No, this is the kind of game that would take you days to figure out if you're trying to do it without a guide on your first try, especially if you're like 8.
Yeah, if you're playing this blind, well, if you're 8, first of all, how do you own a computer that could run this when this came out? But
well, it's probably your parents' computer than anything.
Yeah, his parents' computer.
Oh, you know what? If you had a parent who had a computer that was good for gaming back then, you were fucking lucky. Because most parents back then, rant incoming, were so obsessed with having a computer that they could use for work that they wouldn't even let you use the fucking thing. Ugh.
How long?
I've been holding that in for 20 goddamn years.
You see, one of the things I actually remember about when my dad was working at an old company was that they had take your kid to work day, and they had like all these sorts of events going on for the kids to do so that the parents could actually do work. But then I walk into my dad's office and he's playing Age of Empires on the computer instead of working, and I'm like, Dad, you're breaking the rules.
I shall become a Let's Player. Yes, Father, it is so clear.
Just following in the family footsteps.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is a bit rough because you have to angle yourself right. But if the arrow hits the painting, boom.
That's an odd fucking angle.
It is. It really is.
And you can't get too close, otherwise it shoots back, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How dumb.
Cool.
So is that the only thing the arrows in the bow are used for?
Well, it's the only thing you need them for. They can be used as weapons, but there's like only 3 arrows, so fuck it. Once you've done the puzzle, you can use them. You can use it as a weapon to conserve.
What happens if you use up? What happens if you miss with every arrow somehow? Does you have to just reload?
Yeah.
It's a
this
fake
one is
book.
A fake book.
How can you be a fake book?
No, it's a fake book in the sense that it's a book to be slotted into a bookshelf to open a secret passage.
Oh. You couldn't use a real book to do that?
Or maybe it's one of the maybe it was one of those books that looks like a book, but if you open it up, it actually told us something else.
There's always something behind the fucking grandfather clock, isn't there?
Is it an elixir?
No, it's a key. And
A
a
piece of
parchment.
parchment.
Oh, you have to call
Oh,
it
it's the next clue to Uncle Beauregard's treasure.
The Creatures of Night by
Creatures
Hubertus
of
the
Night
Bald.
by
Translated from
Hubertus
Latin
the
by his
Bald.
brother in prayer.
Translated
Blah, blah,
from
blah, blah.
Latin by his
Marcus.
brother in prayer.
How bald do you have to be known as the Bald?
Did you know that the first recorded instance of the word fuck is actually written by a monk really angry about, I think it's some nun, where he says like, this fucking nun or something like that. And it's from like the 1200s or whatever.
Really? Or are you just...
No, I'm getting the details terribly wrong, but I know that it was written down by a monk somewhere. It's the first recorded instance of the word fuck in the English language.
How far back was that?
Like the 1200s or 1400s, might have been even earlier, like a long ass time ago. Because you also have to remember that the English language is did not exist in the way that we know it today until like the 800s or so, like a long time ago, like not that long ago in terms of things. Like the French language and all those are relatively close to what they were way back then, centuries and centuries ago, but English is a hydra monster of awful being a language. So it just keeps changing.
English has just enough rules to say that there are no fucking rules.
Anyway, this is the document that starts up the Lovecraft overtones. Can you tell? Talk of deep ones and all of that. It's not exactly subtle, the Lovecraft stuff. They mention Cthulhu by name at one point, so
I thought the game over screen brought it up to front. So,
well, yeah, but you could just pass this off as Lovecraft look-alike monsters and stuff. They actually
the Lovecraft knockoffs.
They actually pull in a cult of Cthulhu for the story. So
yeah, well, you can use whatever Lovecraft stuff you want. I think that's all public domain now.
Oops, typo. That's awkward. How do you typo when you're writing on a parchment?
Oh, maybe he's
just getting drunk as he's writing this.
Maybe it's a silent P, like pterodactyl P.
Fee. PH is a f sound, you know. I remember in the 90s, people used the word fat as in PHAT to mean cool.
That's a good. Yeah, let's say that's a good fat.
Yeah, it was so dumb.
The 90s were dumb.
Yes, they were. He who knows says nothing. Proverbs.
as nothing.
The audiobook comes out the 23rd.
There are domains more
At your local Barnes and Noble.
That which is solid is actually liquid. That which is gas smells.
Invest in Bitcoin.
But returns to the origin.
Your great-grandchildren will thank me.
Parchment is ahead of its time. But then it tells me to buy coupons for Sam Goody.
The vagabond who never dies.
Steel kills the vagabond who never dies. Oh, that was a clue. I didn't even realize that was a clue.
Beware the Second World War. Why do you keep calling it that?
Okay, the vagabond who never dies is the pirate that you have to fight in one of the rooms, and you can only kill him using the sword. So you actually are forced into a sword duel with him.
Do we throw insults at each other?
It was the year 1666. Get it? Because it's
one off.
It's Satan. Get it?
Oh wait, no, I think. Oh, now that I think about it, is that the pirate or is the vagabond the purple grimace ghost? I forget.
Purple grimace ghost.
Yeah, the ghost of the grimace. That's ProJared's name for it. The game has its own name for it, but I forget what that name is. So it's the grimace ghost.
Probably purple grimace.
It's in the library that's like one room over from here, actually. So the clue might have had to do with the grimace. Anyway, yeah, the library is actually the door that closed on us when we came down the stairs way back in part 1. So
how come all the other paintings aren't trying to kill us? Only those two were.
because they're just landscapes, I suppose.
Yeah, and landscapes.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. That one, the painting next to the library is a painting of the final boss. It's the Cthulhu pirate tree.
What?
The Cthulhu pirate tree, yes. You thought it was cool when X-Death was a tree? Well, this game did it too. The Cthulhu pirate tree.
Why do you need two different knives?
Because I just happened to pick up two knives in the same cabinet.
Dual wield, bitch.
I should probably put one down, but, well. Anyway, you have to search the bookshelf for a specific place where it says there is a mechanism to trigger and use the false book there. There's no visual indicator.
The false book written by Fox News.
Why can't you use a regular book, though? How does it
What
tell?
is that following you?
Why is Sailor Moon's brooch on the counter there?
That was the ghost of the grimace.
Okay,
Anyway,
why do you need so many knives?
This is these are daggers, though.
In this case, there is actually a reason there are so many knives. Okay, the daggers, there are 3 of them, and you have to read one of these documents and figure out which one is the special sacrificial dagger that you're supposed to use to kill the ghost of the grimace.
No, I don't want to hear that. You want to tape daggers to your fingers, and you'll become indestructible.
Can someone turn down those wind chimes,
Yeah,
please?
She holds that thing up above her head. Moon celestial power.
Alright, make sure you take the talisman. I mean, it's super fucking obvious, but make sure you take it because you can't beat the final boss without it.
I don't know. Considering these kinds of games, that looks like something that might kill you if you pick it up.
Speaking of stuff that might kill you if you pick it up, one of these books is a book on the danger of the power of verb in certain texts. In other words, if you read specific words from arcane novels, you might actually accidentally cast a spell. The other book is a book that kills you if you read it. For this exact reason.
It was just that boring.
So if you read the other book by accident first, it just sucks to be you.
Yes. Yes, it does.
See, that's Shadowgate shit.
Yeah. So save often in this game. Trust me.
So wait, hold on. So then it's implied that the narration we're hearing now is also being said by the protagonist itself too.
No, she's putting on these voices to entertain herself.
Well, fortunately not. But you know, just reading the text in the possessed book will actually cause you to die which is
Easily fall prey
freaking
to attacks of
hilarious.
demented hysteria.
Why is there an
Nothing like
asterisk
those
next to spirits?
described in cases
The-
of
I don't know.
individuals
Reader's
taken
note
to
may not
possess
actually be possessed by evil spirits.
Asterisk, we mean drug. We mean like alcohol.
I recommend
Oh, it's a
study
footnote.
made
I
by
recommend the study made by Zamp, blah, blah,
Day
blah.
by
Okay, so it
day
was an actual
and
footnote. It was
book,
just on the next
and the
page.
reports made by the Reverend Richard Price concerning
Okay.
a number of astonishing, to say the least,
Well, in any case,
exorcisms carried out
I
in a
think this
parish
book
near
also has the
Providence.
clue regarding the daggers. Oh,
Given what I
right,
have
and the
written, We
Necronomicon.
must be grateful
which is
to the
another Lovecraft
Oh,
librarians
yeah,
thing.
of
just the
British
Necronomicon,
Museum,
okay.
who have never allowed
Another
consultation of the
Lovecraft
work
thing.
of
It's just sitting
other
here in his library.
healing work.
No, Abraham Lincoln's supposed to be holding on to that thing, guys. Come on.
Oh, the Necronomicon isn't in here.
Copies
It's just
of that
mentioned.
work
Oh, Miskatonic University is
despite the
another
zeal of
Lovecraft
book-burning inquisitors.
thing.
For proof,
Yeah.
Oh,
we
really?
look
Yeah.
And that's why
further
Arkham is that's why
than the
Arkham is
British
mentioned,
Museum,
because
of course,
obviously.
and the sealed archives
Huh.
of the Miskatonic University
I didn't know
in
that.
Arkham.
Yeah.
I haven't read much Lovecraft. I have a
Other
collection on my
examples, of
Kindle,
course.
but
You see, I actually know that because of Codename Steam. Because there's, you can play as a character from Lovecraft stories in that game, and he has a level in his universe, in that university. Where you meet the Scarecrow from Wizard of Oz, because that game is the best.
stories being influenced by Lovecraft, it pops up in some weird locations, though. Like, did you know Resident Evil 4 is a Lovecraft inspired? It sure doesn't read like it.
Okay.
But, you know, like the cult of, like, tentacle things is, like, when you think about it, super obvious.
Yeah, Leon's line, your right hand comes off. Straight from Lovecraft.
Are you gonna read the other book for fun?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an Alone in the Dark Let's Play. You have to show it off at least once. Ludwig Prynne, De Vermis Mysterious.
Chapter 1, and I quote,
De Vermis
"Fuck off and die." Okay.
Yeah,
Congratulations,
know.
everyone watching this video at this point is now cursed.
7 days. 7 days. 7 days.
7 days, you will get a text message from Lewis saying, "Pick up the dry cleaning."
And no, you can't avoid death by skipping past the voice acting either. I tried.
Yeah, if you skip through the text.
I'm not done yet.
Do you only half die?
Wasn't that didn't a sequel to The Ring actually do the question of whether, like, answer the question of what would happen if somebody uploaded the Ring video onto YouTube? I think
I'm
so.
sure one of them did.
Reading is for suckers. Glad I learned that lesson. I'm going to play video games from now on.
Oh, damn it, Lewis!
What if you read the Kindle version? Would it still do the same thing?
That was me trying to see if skipping through the text would work. It didn't.
I hate it when reading a book makes me jump into the air and then die.
Alright, well, I'm just going to put this down very carefully. So
I'd
that
chuck
it doesn't
it.
open.
I'll make sure it survives in case anyone else wants to read it. I won't burn it
Well,
or
I
anything.
mean, if I throw it and it lands face up and open, that could be just as bad as reading it, and then anyone who walks into this room would die.
Lumina book.
Is that the only book that kills you if you read it?
Yeah, it's the only one. Right, this is the book that tells you which of the knives you need to use to kill the Grimace.
Can I just try all of them?
Well, you can try all of them, but that would mean getting close to the Grimace and probably taking damage. I mean, it's a knife, it doesn't have very much reach. So you really want to figure this out before you attempt it, and then just take your first opening and stab him, because he only takes one hit to kill once you've got the right knife.
Primitive polytheistic beliefs, as if people didn't sacrifice in monotheistic cultures, which they did.
Wasn't there something about goats in the Old Testament?
Yes, there's multiple. Abraham has
Moses
to
came-
sacrifice
Moses
his
came-
goddamn son. Well, I mean, he's supposed to, and then God says, "Whoa, dude, I wasn't actually being serious." But
Lol, JK, right? It was just a prank, bro.
I just wanted to see if you would go through with it.
that's actually
Man, you're fucked up. Man. I should probably like go back and read the Bible just to get my head straight about what's actually in it and what I'm misremembering one of these days. But it's such a long.
Spoiler alert: Jesus dies.
Dude, all right, come on. Judas, I don't feel so good.
It's such a long endeavor reading through it. Oh yeah, the vagabond is indeed the ghost of the grimace. Okay. So, man, I thought that was a clue about.
So is it officially called the ghost of the grimace?
Now it is.
Because I just want fan art of Grimace wandering around from McDonald's, wandering around this house eating nuggets.
I'm sorry, it's just such a fitting nickname for it that I just can't think of it as anything else.
What the fuck is Grimace?
I think he's supposed to be a milkshake monster. Apparently he was evil and then became a good guy, but I'm not too familiar with
the deepest McDonald's lore.
McDonald's lore.
Did you know the hamburger was a born-again Christian? Yeah, I didn't know. Man, I really got to read that Bible.
Surprising no one, the sacrificial dagger you need to kill the vagabond with is the one with the wibbly soul reaver blade.
The one that looks different from the other two.
Well, they all look different, but this is the one that looks fancy. Well, there are two fancy ones. The other one is this one that with a curvy blade, but this is not the one you're supposed to use. The third one just looks like a regular old knife. But if you were trying to figure it out without reading this, you might actually try to pick that one, because you might be thinking along the lines of Indiana Jones and the Holy Grail or something. Like maybe it's the normal-looking one that doesn't look fancy that is the one you need to use. Nope.
Oh, it just calls itself the sacrificial dagger now. Okay.
Oh, that's the name of the.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Document.
Sorry.
Yeah, the document.
Hey, dude, you could just because it's not useful for killing Grimace doesn't mean that you can't use that dagger for other crap. All right. Like you can never have too many daggers. You could chuck them or whatever. I don't know. Simon Belmont might get some use out of it.
Come on.
This one needs same to fuel for some reason.
I'm actually just going to drop the knives, too. I mean, if I'm keeping the sacrificial dagger, I might as well use that exclusively as a weapon.
I guess so. You're not going to use it for anything else up until the end.
Ugh, for fuck's sake. You turn around, and if there's an item next to you, it might prompt you to pick it up. Alright, now let's go back and deal with the grimace. Oh, wait, there's another document.
God damn it. When do we get to the one that's voiced by Morgan Freeman? The Book of Yale.
You're gonna work with after this point.
Was Morgan Freeman a thing back in 92?
Yeah.
Morgan Freeman? Yeah.
Dude's like 80. What, do you think he popped out of the womb looking like that?
No, I like Lewis's interpretation. He just appeared one day.
No, I mean, like, was he famous, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Shawshank Redemption came out, like, in the early 90s.
I think that was 93. I think that was 93, but...
Yeah, and I'm sure he was in plenty of stuff before that.
I was like, I mean, you never know.
Yeah, Driving Miss Daisy was 89.
Man, when a grown-ass man's career is older than I am, Jesus, makes me feel really, really young. Which is a rare feeling at 30.
It must be said that these creatures wield tremendous
Anyway, yeah, this is the document about cults.
Once they have been unleashed.
Who wants to talk about Cthulhu?
Honestly, from what I've looked up, Cthulhu isn't even all that important in terms of the Lovecraft mythos.
No, he just sits there under the sea and wants to be left alone.
Yeah, but it's like other crap that's more important.
Yeah,
He's just the famous
it's
one.
Yeah, Cthulhu just wants to be left alone. It's other people who keep messing with him.
The thing about Lovecraft's approach to those kind of things is that, you know, like maybe they have their own intentions. Maybe they're planning to take over the world at some point. You won't know. You won't know how, when, why.
That's kind of the thing. You're not supposed to be able to understand them.
Yeah, they're like these unknowable entities from outer space, I think, that are so beyond our own comprehension that that we're supposed to feel really small when considering them.
to the soul.
It's like we're bugs
Such
and
monsters
they're
as
people,
those
you know?
invoked by these foolhardy individuals
Ugh.
are engendered when reason
Man is easily tempted
drops
into
its
perversion.
guard.
Well, I'm sure
Man is
women are pure,
easily
though.
tempted into perversion.
Right? No?
It is why we must
Anybody?
forever remain alert.
Fine. I'm
and
going to continue reading.
renounce Satan with each breath we take.
I like how, like,
His ways are
mentioning
infinite
Satan in the same
and
context as, like, the old gods. It's like, I'm pretty sure those two concepts are fairly
I
incompatible.
think your character is realizing I'm still here.
All right, I need to find out who the hell keeps on narrating these whenever I'm reading them, because it's getting really annoying.
No, we established earlier she's doing these voices to herself to be amusing while she reads them.
Yeah.
Emily just has an Audible Whisper Sing subscription. Oh, fuck me!
Well,
It's right
kinda
there.
forgot he
Bitch
was there. You're about to
slapped!
get piss slapped by Grimace after your milkshakes.
You're just gonna load it.
I am not accepting that sucker punch.
Redo!
Dude's been waiting for you to stop reading for a half an hour. All right?
Literally a half an hour at this point.
It's like, oh, thank God, I thought you'd never get out.
I didn't want to interrupt because that'd be rude, but, you know.
Kind of wanted to get the show on the road.
Okay, you need to put the lamp down in order to do this.
'Cause
You have a
God is-
second hand.
Well, yeah, but you see, the moment you pull out the dagger without putting the lamp down, it puts the lamp out.
But you
So-
have two hands.
Yeah, we turned him into bubbles! Woo!
Bitch slapped.
That's the end of that chapter.
It is indeed.
And so, after the climactic confrontation, we get spooky music. Okay. All right.
Yeah, sometimes the battle music kicks in at odd times.
Not to mention that I just noticed that the lamp gets more polygons as soon as you put it down.
Yeah, it does. Anyway, the door's open now. Huzzah.
Neat, I guess.
Well, it's helpful because it lets you get quickly from the library downstairs. The thing you really wanted to get in there was the dagger. I don't think you even need to kill the Grimace in order to beat the game. Although it helps to get rid of it so that you can, you know, just get out without a problem and without having to walk around the long way.
Makes sense.